Welcome, everyone, to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Allie Hutchinson. I'm a staff minister at OCSL. My pronouns are she and they, and I will be your host tonight at our Wednesday night Oasis service. Oasis is a place where we gather together as a community to get sort of spiritually nourished midweek. Most Wednesday night services build on the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing science mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal and interactive and just really intimate, casual gatherings. Our annual theme for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper, and our CSL monthly theme for August rather, is On the Wings of Love. Last Sunday, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman, our senior minister, introduced ideas inspired by this week's theme, Soaring in Love. And tonight, our speaker will continue her exploration of that same topic. If you're new to our community or watching this video for the first time, please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org. If you click on the I'm new icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page, you can submit your email address. And then once you do, you'll start receiving our newsletter, The Village News, once a week in your email. It has all the information about what's happening in our center in the next few weeks. And there's a lot going on. Before we get started on the talk, if you haven't already muted your microphone, please do so. It improves the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission, and you can leave your camera on if you like. And finally, please stay tuned through the end of the service. We have a lot of important announcements about things that are coming up. Our speaker tonight is Maureen Muhlena, religious science practitioner. Maureen is a licensed religious science practitioner and a ministerial student dedicated to serving humanity. Rooted in spiritual principles, she holds the consciousness that there is a power for good behind all of creation. She brings an effervescent presence and a deep commitment to her own spiritual growth, trusting that her dedication to raising consciousness will help awaken the divine potential in others. Deeply inspired by the greater New Thought movement, Maureen's calling is to inspire, uplift, and create spaces of peace, love, and prosperity. So I want to thank you in advance, Maureen, for being our speaker tonight. But we always start these services with prayer. And I understand that our opening prayer will be offered by Megan Lemon, who is also a religious science practitioner. So I'll turn this over to Megan.
Thank you, Reverend Allie. So, just let's settle into where we are and just go ahead and take a deep, deep God breath in and let it out. Just letting go of everything that has come before this moment now and tuning into that divine oneness, the consciousness of the Spirit that is everything that moves us and breathes us and enlivens our lives. And knowing that that energy, that divine consciousness is the very essence of each and every one of us here. And I just bless Maureen as she delivers her talk from high consciousness, knowing that spirit is flowing through her and that we all hear something that needs to be heard for each of us in our own individualized way, that it resonates in our hearts and our minds and in our souls so that we can uplift each other and uplift our consciousness to that higher vibration with the oneness that we all are a part of. And so I bless our time together, knowing that it unfolds perfectly in divine order. And I just anchor this truth and this knowing by stating, and so it is. Amen.
And so it is. And let's welcome our speaker tonight, Maureen Muhlena.
Hello, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living community and everyone else out there that are watching this talk tonight. I am talking on the topic soaring in love. And so I invite you to explore this with me as I explored it in a way that I hope you find inspirational. So when I was thinking of soaring in love, I imagined wings spread far and wide, catching the wind, raising higher and higher. As Reverend Sunshine shared in her Sunday talk, the eagle soars with ease. Once at altitude, the eagle is carried not by frantic effort, but by the invisible currents in the air. In much the same way, love can lift us beyond fear, limitation, beyond the heaviness of life. But here's the thing. So often, when we talk about love, we narrow it down to one form, which is commonly referred to as romantic love. We make it a priority, even the ultimate goal, as though the story of love begins and ends with romance. And while romance has its beauty, of course, this focus can distract us from the many other forms of love available to us every single day. Love is not confined to fleeting passion or dramatic gestures. So, before we go any further, I'd like to have you have a quick reflection. So go ahead and take a deep breath. And when you hear me say the word love, what image or thought comes to your mind? Don't overthink it. Just notice it. When you hear the word love, what comes to mind? And hold that thought for a moment. Taking a breath. And notice what came up for you. So, for some of us, what we're going to notice is we're going to think about our romantic partner, right? That's a lot of times what people think. A childhood memory. It could be a pet, or even a place where we felt safe or we were cared for. Whatever it was that you thought about, whatever image, it's perfect because it shows us how deeply love is woven into our lives. And yet, in the Science of Mind teaching, we are reminded that love is even more than our personal experiences of it. Love is not just an emotion we feel or a bond that we have with another. Love is the very essence of God. It is the invisible current beneath the wings of the eagle, the life force that animates creation, the presence that flows through each of us. As our founder, Ernest Holmes, says, love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It can be ignored. Meaning that while love can be suppressed or ignored, it can never be truly destroyed because it is the fundamental aspect of our being. Love is not something we have to go out and chase and catch. It's already here, already within us, surrounding us. The question isn't where do I find love? It's how do I align with the love that is already present? You know, when we look around the world, our movies, our culture, our music, we see love portrayed in a very particular way. It's almost always about romance, and it most always have these dramatic gestures, the fiery passion, the heartbreak, and the longing, the happily ever after. And of course, those moments can be real and beautiful. But when that becomes our only definition of love, we miss something vital. We start to believe that love must always be intense, or else it isn't real. But here's the truth. Love isn't only in the fireworks. It's also in the steady flame. It is what I will refer to as grounded love. Grounded in the truth that God's love is everywhere present and it is always available. Grounded love looks different. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't shout. It shows up quietly, but powerfully. It is calm, steady, and sustainable. Grounded love asks us not only to receive it, but also to give it. It asks us to show up with compassion, to respect others, and sometimes even to sacrifice for the good of another. Think about it. Romantic passion may feel like soaring on a gust of wind, fast and thrilling, but grounded love, that's like learning to ride the steady current. That current will carry you farther with strength that lasts. So let's not confuse love with intensity alone. There is a love that is intentional. It's resilient and enduring. This is the kind of love that lets us soar in infinite ways. So, what are some of the other forms of love besides passion or romantic love? Well, some of them could be self-love. Self-love in the sense of honoring your own worth, caring for your body, spirit, and mind. There's familial love, the bond that ties us to parents, children, siblings, and our chosen family. There's friendship love, people who walk beside us, who remind us of who we are when we forget. There's altruistic love, the compassion that moves us to care for strangers, to serve, to give without expecting anything in return. And then, of course, there is the overarching of it all, God's love, infinite, unchanging, flowing through everything, every expression of life. We often focus so much on our first love in the romantic sense. But let me ask you this. Do you remember the first time you became aware of loving someone in a way that wasn't romantic? Maybe it was the moment you held a newborn or a child. Maybe it was when you stood by a friend during a hard time. Maybe it was when you reached out to a stranger simply because something in you said you needed help. Take a moment now and remember that experience. Feel what that was like. That vibration, that experience, that was love. Pure, intentional, grounded love. One of the important ways that God's love shows up is through us. And so when I was thinking about this, I was like, oh, I have this wonderful couple that live in my neighborhood. They are always helping other people. And so one day they noticed one of our elderly neighbors that their lawn had become overgrown with weeds. And I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people that drive past those lawns and they judge them, right? Why are they letting their lawn go so tall, this and that? No, no, no. This couple, they decided that they were going to get the equipment and that they were going to go and they cleared the weeds. They trimmed and mowed the lawn. And when this elderly neighbor came out and saw what they were doing, she welled up in tears, saying, wow, I thought no one noticed me anymore. That simple act, it wasn't romantic. It wasn't a grand gesture. It was love. Love expressed as compassion, presence, and care. In that moment, God's love came alive in an ordinary front yard. Love in all these forms is what allows us to soar, not because it is a dramatic gesture or loud, but because it is steady, intentional, and true. So you've just remembered love beyond romance. You've heard a story and understanding how many ways love can show up in ordinary moments. But love is not only something we talk about, it's something we experience and feel. So I would like you to participate in this short meditation with me. So if you could just let your eyes close or have a soft gaze if you feel comfortable. And take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Just feeling your feet steady on the ground. You're here in this very moment, in sacred community, supported and safe. Now bring your attention to your heart space. And in that space, imagine a soft golden light glowing there. This golden glowing light is warm, it's peaceful, and it's radiant. With each breath that you take, it expands, filling your entire chest, flowing through your entire body, and extending out beyond you. This soft golden light is God's love. always present, infinite, flowing in you and through you and out from you. Now, as you are envisioning this glowing light beaming outward, bring someone to your mind. It could be a partner, a friend, a teacher, even a stranger. See their gentle face in your mind's eye. Feel them in your heart. And imagine sending them this golden light. Notice what happens in your heart as you give this love. Can you feel it expanding? Do you feel uplifted? There are no words needed. Just love, just a vibration. So as we close this out, let us affirm this love together. And so repeat after me. I am grounded in God's love. I am an instrument of love in the world. Love lifts me, guides me, and carries me higher. Take a deep breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and come back to the room. So when we live this way, in alignment with God's love, something begins to happen. Love frees us. Love frees us from fear, from judgment, and from ego. How? Well, fear whispers in us, whispers in our ears. Stay small. Don't make a scene. It's not my business. It keeps our heart closed. But love keeps our heart open. The second way it frees us is through judgment. The second way love frees us is from judgment. Judgment builds walls. Many, many people drove past that lawn and judged that woman for not having her weeds clear. Love lets us see the divine spark in every person, even though we don't understand them. Instead of condemning them, love invites us into compassion. Instead of exclusion, love draws us into belonging. And then the third way that love frees us is from the limits of ego. Ego wants control, wants to be right, wants to win. But love isn't about control. Love is about connection. When we move from ego to love, we stop needing to prove ourselves. We stop needing to fight for worth. Instead, we discover humility, openness, and a willingness to serve because that love is coming through us from God's love. So yes, love frees us. And in that freedom, we rise. We lift each other up. It gives us wings and carries us into joy and wholeness and deep fulfillment. Because love reconnects us. It connects us with the truth that we are divine beings soaring in God's infinite embrace. So today we began with the soaring image of the eagle, reminding us that love is the wind beneath our wings. We explored how love is not just passion or romance, but God's own presence flowing through us. We remembered that love is vast, grounded, intentional, and alive in our everyday choices. We reflected on the first time we loved someone outside of romance. We saw how love shows up in simple acts, like tending to a neighbor's lawn, smile, standing beside a friend. And we felt love together in that guided meditation, allowing love to flow through us out into the world. And finally, we discovered how love frees us from ego, judgment, and fear. Love gives us wings. It gives us freedom. So here is my invitation. Declare your intention today to live as an expression of God's love. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be grand. Love shows up in presence, in kindness, patience, and compassion. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can choose to bring love into that moment. And when you do, you will soar like an eagle. Blessed be. So now I would like to open up the floor for discussion. I have some prompts. You're welcome to
While you're doing that, I'm gonna invite everyone to just turn their cameras on if they like. If you want to talk, turn your mic on or use the react button or wave at us. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna ask, I think iPhone is Miss Grady. Are you here, Grady?
Yes, I am.
All right, let me change your name for our discussion.
You.
All right.
So the questions I have in the chat are what are some ways that you align with God's love, the love that is always present? Second question, which form of love feels most present or important in your life right now and why? And then the third question is, can you think of a time when choosing love over fear, judgment, or ego changed the way a situation unfolded for you? Or you can just comment however you would like.
You blew everybody away.
Are you feeling the love?
I was just in a love fest.
Yeah.
Of others.
Oh,
And
hi, Alula. Were you speaking? We weren't hearing you.
There we go.
oh, really?
Yeah, sorry. Start over, please. We didn't hear you.
I said that now in the past month or two, when I'm judging others. And I'm pretty sure that in the past, I just did it and didn't even remember because it's so automatic. Now, when I find myself judging, I do every day, so I see people out. I send them some love. That's what I've been doing because it's not just judging myself. I don't want to judge others either. I don't know what we don't know. Well, I don't, and it's just not. If I could do anything, could say a silent prayer for them. I don't know these people. It's just out walking, but little kind of small little judgments but they're little small things. It says more about me than it does about them. I'm through.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lula. Thank you for sharing that. I think all of us on this call can identify with what you're sharing. But I like the fact that you're choosing to send a vibration of love and blessing to them, because that is an action, is sending that to them.
I was thinking about how the effect on an emotional level where humans are sort of like tuning forks. Like if you hit one, the other one will start vibrating. Like people actually do start unconsciously vibrating with the same vibration that we're putting out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about my mentioning the focus that our culture has on romantic love and not on other loves? What do you all think about that?
I see Peggy.
I wasn't going to talk about romantic love at the moment, however. I was still stuck on just love
Yeah.
when it's not romantic, and how in our society we don't promote that. Our society, our collective consciousness doesn't, we don't feed that. That is and it's so important. You asked, did I have an example of a situation where I chose love, and I was getting a pair of shoes, and another lady was too. And she was very irritated. She came from work and she was just not on her game. She just wasn't, she just wasn't together. And I didn't know her. I was just looking at her, and that was the message I was getting from her behavior. And she was very short and short-tempered with the sales lady. So when the sales lady left to go get the shoes, I looked over at her and I said, bad day at Black Rock? And she said, yes. And she said, yes, yes. And I said, well, me too. I said, but let's not let the sales girl know. And she said, oh, I was bad, huh? And I said, and I said, no, no, you were just having a moment. And now that moment's already gone. Now we're having this moment right now. And it actually helped me. It helped me too, because I was having a rough day myself. In my mind, I was. And so it changed not only her. When the sales girl came back, she was, oh, I'm so sorry. You've been very helpful. She was full of love. What else was there? That's what she was. She was full of love. And so was I. I was just tickled to death, and I was full of love and feeling that wonderful thing that she and I had shared. And now we were sharing it with another person.
You had connection.
We had connection, all three of us, right then. So thank you for making me think about that. I hadn't thought of that in a bit. I'm complete.
Thank you. And yeah, what you were saying, our society focuses on romantic love. We don't really talk about other types of love. And I mean, God's love is infinite. There are infinite ways of love, and we only focus on one type.
You made love sound so good. I was thinking, wow, wonder why people don't do that more often.
Right?
Exactly. And why not? Love is humor too.
Mhm. That's true.
Deborah, if you're talking, you're still on mute. There
Thank you, darling.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways that I align with God's love, the love that is always present? I work at a job that is generally hard because most people are coming in angry and most people are coming in demanding
Mm.
and most people are coming in clueless as to what our job really is about.
Do you work at a Social Security office?
Thank you, Maureen. Actually, I work in housing.
Okay, well, yeah.
I work in housing, and most people are demanding that we give it to them immediately,
Right.
not understanding the process, and also not understanding the the work that they have to have before they even step into the door. So oftentimes I'm working with an angry client. And what I literally do is prepare myself mentally daily. Not only do I my prayer work, but I also am one of the things that you were saying is um align myself and wash myself over with God's love so that I can give them my highest and best that I have to offer in the moment. So when they walk in reading me the riot act, not only do I say, hold up, let's rewind, and let me tell you what my position is. And then I go ahead and allow them to start all over where we can have a decent conversation, because if they don't, I might go off on them too and forget all about God is in the room watching me and them. So, and so oftentimes just the opportunity to give them a breath and to rewind creates another atmosphere to have a solid conversation.
Yeah.
And that's how I think of in terms of what are some ways to align with God, and the love is always present. So we can both get our questions answered and the opportunity can exist and show up for us both. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I'm complete.
Your company is lucky to have you.
That's what they say, because at this point I'm still working. And they keep wanting to increase my days. I only work there 2 days a week. And they have been trying to get me to come full time, and I won't go back to work full time. The other thing that I think of a lot is, can I think of a time when choosing, well, no, and that also goes for choosing love. But I look at familiar love as high on the list because it gave me so much in terms of my grounding, as well as not necessarily choice, because in my house, both my mother and my father were kind of strict, but what they did was they had ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
And they also had lessons and chores and all of those things. And I grew up in a large family. And so I learned oftentimes the courtesies right there in my family because there were so many of us. And we had to operate with love. Otherwise, we were going to get the masters choosing not to love with us. So with that. So I have a big one in terms of familiar love, family love. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And creating community.
Nice.
I'm complete.
Yeah, it sounds like they fostered, whether it was, through strict means, but it sounds like they fostered some level of needing to, cooperation and handling it with your siblings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always think about that book we have to read for one of our classes, The Four Agreements, and the second chapter is about don't take anything personally, which obviously is really hard.
Yeah.
I saw a quote lately from a Buddhist teacher or whatever that made it a lot clearer. It's like whatever if that person's coming in hot and you haven't, done anything to them, whatever they say to or about you, it's not about you. It's about their relationship with themselves. And if you can remember that, it's so much easier to just be in a place of empathy. Like, what is going on for them? You know, what do they need? Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
mm,
Yeah, for me, I mean, identifying or sussing out the ways that we love and the infinite possibilities of God's love, it provides our consciousness to remember our wholeness, right?
Right.
And our society focuses on one type of love and we feel lost if we don't have it. Like Valentine's Day. When Valentine's Day, I have friends who are like heartbroken that they do not have a Valentine. And it's like, wow, there are so many other ways to love. But our society's messages are really strong. But our wholeness comes in many, many, many other forms.
I like when you talked about when we live in alignment with God's love, love frees us from judgment and frees us from our ego. And I really think that that's really important because let's talk about how do we get in alignment, right? We want to be in alignment all the time. And that really takes conscious effort until it becomes habitual. And so as we get with our friends who maybe have a different practice that's not science of mind, but whatever practice they've got, I have found that as I practice my own stuff and people look at me and say, oh, that was really cool the way you did that. I think I'm gonna do that next time. I want to grow up and be like you. Um,
Yeah.
those phrases that people use are really indicators of that we're connecting in love.
Mhm.
And because any one of us is an example of our practicing to align ourselves, then that alignment is encouraged by other things that happen as a result.
Mhm.
So I think that that's what I'm really recognizing more and more all the time about the power and the presence of love. And I don't talk about romantic love, but it happens in romantic love as well. And so I thank you for bringing that up about the alignment. That to me is very critical to remember
Mm.
that we're already there. We're already right there. So thank you. I'm complete.
Nice.
Deborah, and then
Dr. Judith.
I just wanted to bring up that I too am happy about the alignment, because Grady has a saying that we and Dr. Dan has adopted: alignment is our assignment. She hasn't spoken yet, but that is one of the Gradyisms and the wisdoms that come out of our Dr. Dan. And she has coined a lot for us. And her, just quickly, alignment is our assignment, period. I'm complete. Thank you, Grady.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Dr. Judith.
Hi. So, God, it's just so many things came up that it was hard to pick one to talk about. There's a lot of, I dearly love my daughter and my granddaughter and my great grands, and then I have feelings of love for my community, that I haven't defined yet, but I can tell that they're there, and for specific people and just for the community at large, a feeling of love toward. There was one situation quite a few years back where I went to visit a friend who he wasn't feeling well, and hadn't been for a bit. And so just sitting around in his place, and he asked if he could just, I could sit there and he could lay down and put his head in my lap. And I said, sure, and it was on the opposite side of romantic, because both of us are gay. So
No confusion there.
no confusion. It's just like, we were friends and we loved each other, and he just lay down and just, he kind of fell asleep a little bit, and it was just
Sweet.
It made me realize, it brought me very close to a pure knowingness of how much love I felt for this person. And yeah, I think there's sometimes it's easier to love people than other times, right? I mean, I'm thinking about my little my 6 and 9-year-old great grands. They're easy to love. They're full of life. They're at the beginning of their lives, and it's not hard at all. That kind of love just bubbles up. So it just gave a lot to think about. I was having trouble with my iPad for a few minutes. So, but I love the talk, and I'm going to listen to it again and think about all the ways that love manifests and has manifested in my life, going back through my history. And I have to acknowledge I kind of laughed about it, but the concept of romantic love at this point at age 79 is seems very distant in the past right now. And so I don't know if that only lives, if there are decades when this is the kind of love that's prominent in your life, and then this is the kind of love. And then I'm also one of the people that goes walking, and I actually decided it was my job to say hello to everybody that I pass in the street. And so and sometimes I get, sometimes there'll be somebody walking towards you, and they've got a big frown on their face, because I have known nothing about them. I say, hi, hello, I give them a smile, and their face changes. I get a smile back, not always, and I don't care anymore that when it doesn't happen, but I get a smile back very often, and I kind of feel that in some very small way, I changed something for the day, for the moment, because of how they appeared. Anyway, thank you for the topic. Thank you for the talk. I just really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Maureen.
Thank you.
I'm complete.
Thank you for sharing that story. I think that is what I really was trying to drive home is that there's this love that can be so deep with people, and it doesn't need to be this romantic depth.
Right.
It's just a sharing of connection. And it could be fleeting, it could, or it could be lasting a long time, but it's way more expansive than just that type of love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're at the time to end. So let's give Maureen some love. That was some more love.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're right.
so we're going to move into our announcements. Thank you again, Maureen.
Thank you.
So this Sunday, August 24th, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman will be speaking on the turbulence of love. Sounds more like that romantic love kind of stuff. Meditation starts at 10, followed by the service at 10:30. On Wednesday, our next Oasis service, join Nancy Hester and Ron Marshall, who's a religious science practitioner, for an encore discussion on that topic, the turbulence of love. 6:30 p.m. meditation is followed by a 7 o'clock service on Zoom. And get your tickets for the 80th anniversary gala coming up soon on September 20th. They're on sale now. Go to oaklandcsl.org events. And while you're at it, get an 80th anniversary bag while they last in the bookstore. Also, Gabriella Conde is gathering volunteers for various duties at the anniversary gala. So tables set up before and breakdown on Sunday after, registration table, greeters, ushers, etc. Please send your interest to info@oaklandcsl.org. And in the subject line, put Gala Volunteers. And thank you in advance for your support of our event. And by the way, we're also on the same topic, we're also collecting shout outs to celebrate our 80th anniversary. You can stop by and meet Reverend Deb on Sunday, August 31st at noon at the front door to record your video message of love or memories or congratulations for OCSL. Or if you'd like to, you can record your own short video greeting, 60 to 90 seconds, and email it to info@oaklandcsl.org. And contact Reverend Deb with any questions at myrootconnections@gmail.com. We would like to make this milestone even more unforgettable, and we would love your participation in particular. So also, please join us for a powerful, insightful discussion at the Diversity Circle, Friday, August 22nd. 7 o'clock on Zoom, we'll delve into the rich and complex topic of mixed race identities, both not half. Please visit oaklandcsl.org groups to learn more about this event. The Women's Spiritual Empowerment Group is back with a new 6-week series starting August 24th, and then the following session is just a week later on August 31st. Visit oaklandcsl.org groups to see the remaining dates and to learn more. And join us after the service for our monthly community potluck and Bring a Friend Sunday, August 24th. You can bring them to the service too, and then the potluck. So Deborah Jackson is getting together a committee for setup and cleanup, and you can contact her at deborah@oaklandcsl.org for more information. Our social justice ministry meets on the first Sunday of the month, so that's September 7th, 1 to 3 p.m. in the social hall. Our nonprofit partner for July-August is Inside Circle. Inside Circle is a nonprofit dedicated to fostering personal growth and healing among individuals impacted by the justice system, creating transformative programs for people inside the prison system, for currently and formerly incarcerated youth transitioning back into society, and much more. Visit their website at insidecircle.org for more information. And the Spirit Treasure Bookstore celebrates August with an inventory clearance sale, Books are 40% off. Merchandise is 30% off. And then there's this whole other thing if you want to buy in bulk. You can get 5 items if they're each valued over $10. The whole thing is 40% off. If you have 10 items each valued under $10, they're also 40% off. So be sure to pick up while you're there the OCSL 80th anniversary bag, $15 plus tax.
Mm.
And if you look at this next slide, you can see all the people that you might be wanting to contact because they're in charge of something that's on the slide. And it's time now, as we think about our gratitude toward those people who are helping our center run smoothly, to move into our gratitude and conscious giving portion of the service. So conscious giving for us is a celebration, it's an expression of gratitude, and it's a spiritual practice. In giving, we celebrate our community and we express gratitude for all the people who give of their time, talent, and treasure to sustain it. We also acknowledge our place in the flow of universal power and abundance, and we put our own intentions for a greater experience of abundance into action. So, in that spirit, please follow along as I read the giving affirmation. And if you're muted, please feel free to read out loud. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies my offering. It blesses all that I am, all that I give, and all that I circulate. Thank you, love, as me, and so it is. And in order to make that offering, you can go to the website, click the red donate button. It'll bring you to our page that talks about all the various ways to give by cash, check, Zelle, text, QR code, all sorts of things. And now we'd like to show our appreciation for people who have offered their time, talent, and their presence to tonight's service. Maureen, who did our meditation and also served as our speaker tonight. Megan Lemon, a religious science practitioner who's going to do our closing prayer tonight. Ministers, we always thank the ministers who are present, who lent their presence and support to our Wednesday night service, which tonight was Reverend Ikea. And tonight's tech host, Freddie Lambright, who made all of this possible, and our administrative coordinator who worked behind the scenes to facilitate our service. So it's time for me, as I lose my voice, to transfer this over to Megan Lemon, who'll do our closing prayer.
Thank you. So just want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and we'll just go ahead and settle back into that space where we connect with spirit, with the divine. Just blessing everyone who came here tonight to be in beloved community. Blessing Maureen's talk as the words carry us through the rest of the week and reverberate on our hearts so that we may carry that oneness out into the world, carry that love forward, grounding in God's love. So we just thank you for participating tonight, listening to this word, uplifting our spirits and blessing each of us as we go on our way to whatever is next. And I just ground in this knowing and affirm it by stating, and so it is. Amen.
So it is. So wonderful having y'all here tonight. Good seeing all of you. Hope
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.